Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Marlo and I am fresh from returning from VancouFur 2018. Now I figure the best way to do a review of such significance and large magnitude on a grand scale, it would be to do it day by day, starting with Thursday. And Thursday was a doozy of a day. And then after the fact, an additional future video will address the finer details about certain topics or events, that sort of type nature. But anyway, let's begin. To give a proper and thorough review of the convention itself, I feel like I must go over a couple of things that were on my mind prior to the beginning of the event. So this trip to Vancouver 2018 was hugely significant because it marked my return to the fandom. Essentially, it was my first convention in 5 years, and it was my overall first convention as not only my rebranded and improved self-version of myself, but it was also my first convention as a fursuiter. Now, the conventions that I attended to in the past as my previous self, they were rather boring. This was during a time when I didn't realize that I was the only person responsible for my enjoyment and experiences at furry conventions. It was far too late for me at the time to realize that, and I actually had to push myself to make the most of what was offered. And this time around, I wasn't going to let that slip away. I was going to grab the metaphorical bull by the horns and enjoy myself for a change. So the weeks coming up to the convention, I was feeling quite nervous about a lot of things. I don't want to take up too much time with this introduction, but as you can imagine, my first time being back in the fandom garners many questions. I didn't know what it was going to be like fursuiting. I also wanted to make a rough schedule while maintaining a semi-open structure so I can partake in spontaneous activities. Making time for friends, parties to attend to, dances to go to. It's a lot to jam-pack in just a few days, and at the end of it all, I still feel like I missed out on some things that I wanted to do. I kind of wish I was at multiple places at once so I could enjoy the most of everything that was offered. Also, I didn't know how to dance. I still don't know how to dance, and I was really panicking about that too. I additionally was tasked to host a friend from the United States, and I never really hosted anyone from out of town before. I haven't done the whole tour guide thing in my life. My friend, Togo, coming from Oklahoma, it's a hugely different climate, culture, experience. I wanted to grant my friend the best time at the convention as well as to show him what Canada has to offer as a country to visit, and to introduce him to some of my good friends so he wouldn't become bored at any time. I felt like I was personally responsible for my friend who came a long way just to visit, and to make sure he was happy and entertained, so I had a lot on my shoulders, actually. I was also worrying about things that were out of my control prior to the convention. This was going to be a huge plunge for me because it was not only going to be a personal milestone, but I held myself to a really high standard to push myself hard to make the most out of everything, all the while worrying about the constant little things that were happening. But at the end of it, I felt like I persevered, and quite well. I had a really good time. So, with that out of the way, let's begin with my review on Thursday.